Hi everyone, I'm Nathan Broman, and today I'm going to show you my Tricopter. Now I built this based off the design on the website RCExplorer.se, run by David Windestall. The Tricopter has 3 arms, and at the end of each arm is a motor with a rotor blade on it, like a helicopter. To steer, the Tricopter has this tilt mechanism back here to tilt the rotor one way or the other with a servo, and that will pull it around so it can turn. On each arm there's this speed controller, the yellow thing, that controls how fast the motor's going. And then the speed controllers and the servo receive their input from this in here. This is the KK2 board. It can control a variety of multi-rotor craft and even some aircraft. So I have that set for the Tricopter right now. And on this side, all the wires plug in for the motors. And this side, the wires come from the receiver. The receiver's right here, and it's receiving signals from my remote control back on the ground. Now in here, there's this little battery. It's 900 milliamps, and I'll get to that later. So then I put the protective armor back on it. So that will protect it in a crash, because one of the buttons on the KK2 board already broke off. On the bottom here is a large 3200 milliamp battery. It gives me pretty good flight time. A good thing about the Tricopter is that the arms fold back. So when you get in a crash, and that's not an if, that's a when. So when you get in a crash, so if you're going forward, then it pushes the arm back instead of snapping it off. And folding arms also make it a lot easier to transport. You just fold it up and then stick it on a shelf somewhere, or stick it in a backpack or something. So on the front here, this is what's called an FPV system. FPV stands for first person view. So it consists of a camera, a transmitter, and a battery. Remember that one I showed you earlier in here. So the battery is powering the transmitter and the camera. And the camera's hooked up to the transmitter. So it's like putting yourself in the pilot's seat. This is a cloverleaf antenna. David shows how to build it on RCExplorer.se. But what it does is eliminates a lot of the static from the FPV video transmitter and makes the picture a lot more clear. On top here, this little camera is called Mobius, and Mobius can actually record footage while I'm flying. This camera just has a video out that goes to the transmitter and doesn't record or anything. The Mobius will, so that's how I record aerial footage. So this is my end of the controls. So I have my remote control here. For the FPV system, I rubber banded this little screen to the remote. Well, the screen's like something you'd have in a car for like a backup cam. Back here is my end of the FPV system. I have the receiver that receives the video signals, and then I have my 12-volt battery pack. It's 8 AA's powering it and the screen. And this is another antenna that David shows how to build. It's called the skew planar wheel antenna, and this one's best suited for the receiver's end, and the cloverleaf was best suited for the transmitter end. So unlike the cloverleaf, this one has 4 lobes instead of 3. And this is my control surface here. I've got the throttle, the rudder, the elevator, and the aileron controls. So that's mainly what I use to fly it. In my next video, you'll see it fly.